Product Service Systems, PSS, means for the global solutions delivered by a company instead of the classical selling of products. It is said to be more satisfaction for customers, a new profit for companies, and better for environmental concerns. What are the most important issues in PSS to investigate? Yes, I can say sustainability, design, and engineering tools. Number one is sustainability. New business models for company profit, ecosystem properties as well, have been clarified. That's true. But environmental sustainability needs more in-depth studies to extract the conditions to implement PSS friendly for the environment and so turn the potential unknowns to reality.
Firstly, I think that it's important to acknowledge that product service systems is a highly integrated field of research and activity. It's not just about design and engineering design of product service systems, but it's also understanding the organizational aspects, the business modeling aspects, the change management aspects, the partnership aspects, and of course the design and development aspects of product service systems.
Rule number one, we have to understand what is the key need, the underlying need that the customer needs. If we win the customers and solve the customer problems, we are solving our problems. And therefore, we can extend the relationship with the customer. But this is not easy. It is not easy. Therefore, we need to pilot, we need to work with the customer all this journey to learn what is expected. And sometimes their expectations are not very well compelled and defined. Therefore, we have to be with them in the journey to understand what is the underlying principle that they will need to make this thing happen and to be a win-win situation for both. What we want is value co-creation. What we want is sustainability. What we want is mutual success. And this is what are the underlying theories and benefits for the customer and for the provider and other members of the ecosystem.
I would say, so far, mainly it has been either research about the business model as such, or the how to design the products, or how to design the policy, and so on. What is needed in the future is to combine these three and to see, okay, if you change the policy, how will that affect, for example, the design and the business model? Or if you change the business model, what will be the implications for the policy or the product, etc. So I think that is the future.
Don't forget that the sustainability improvement comes from the design phase. One successful PSS always lean on the most advanced and innovative technologies on products and the most appropriate usages as well. And two, PSS means also collaborative and multidisciplinary design. Many disciplines in academia, technology, science, business, social, many departments in companies, many companies in the value chain have to collaborate.
The second point, I think, is that one thing is to design a product service system, and the other is to actually operate, or maybe before that, to procure it and then to operate a product service system. And understanding product service systems from the procurement and operations perspective gives a very, very deep insight into how we in fact should design and develop a product service system.
So if you ask me what is important in the development and deployment of PSS in the future, I would say that operational excellence is still very important, and that's probably one reason why a lot of companies are talking about PSS but are not implementing it. So operational excellence for sure. But for the future, the convergence between sustainability and PSS is key from my point of view. And on the top of that, working in ecosystems to develop PSS offers or systems in general is also key. So I would say, yeah, operational excellence, convergence in sustainability and PSS deployment, and clearly PSS as a new way of working together, because we need to share the same innovation culture, we need to same the same innovation processes, the same innovation methods and toolbox if we want to develop PSS together in the future.
There are several opportunities for developing PSS in a sustainability perspective. It brings many advantages in terms of dematerialization and also extension of product lifetime. But it's very important to take into account that PSS is not sustainable by itself. It needs to be developed based on the best practices for eco-design, for example, and for sustainable services and social innovation, in a way that the developed PSS will have a better environmental, social, and economic performance.
Number 3 is engineering and decision tools. These tools are still missing. For example, data and human activities are not yet in PLM systems. Simulations are still expected to support technologies and human behaviors at the same time. Expert knowledge that we extracted a lot in the last years is not standardized in, let's say, driving rules that support engineers with design suggestion.
And then thirdly and finally, I think important for me is to see how we can understand the sustainability potential of a product service system, to understand it, but also to activate that by getting the right stakeholders from within the PSS ecosystem to work together to provide high value in a different in a different way than we're used to doing in the product and product development paradigm.
Remanufacturing is really good for PSS because it helps the provider to reuse the product several times, and they can have it in several PSSs. It helps the provider to control the products during use, and you can use that control and data for doing the remanufacturing. So you can know how many hours the product has been used, and you can also predict preventive maintenance, which makes it much better for remanufacturing.
First, we have to adopt an integrated design approach. We need in the project both experts in service development and product development. We need to integrate all their expertises into the project team, and we have to make the right choices and to balance the different constraints between product and services inside the product service systems. So that's the first point, to make integrated design with both experts in product design and in services design.
As you know, we have been developing a design methodology and tools for PSS design in Japan, because in many cases to apply the PSS design strategy or ideas, we need to find future value set in current. Of course, on the other hand, we already know the different methodologies for knowing futures. For example, applying scenario planning. But in current, the field for researching scenario planning and PSS development is completely different. So now we are now trying to combine both in same field.
The second point is to develop product service system and to develop environmentally friendly product service system is to provide to designers the means to make environmental assessment of those product service systems. So in Grenoble, in the GScope laboratory, we are defining methodologies to realize life cycle assessment of product service systems. For this, one of the main difficulties is to define the functional unit of product service systems, and then to balance the different choices in relation to the result of life cycle assessment.
Servitization is a complex problem, and we try to develop for decision makers some method, tools, decision aid supports in order to help them in managing the transition towards services. So perhaps two main topics currently. We develop also other perspectives, but one is to try to develop decision aid tools, methods to configure a new PSS offer. So not only to design the system, we are not very specialized on designing the technical system, but just to design the whole architecture of the offer, and then to design with that also the supply chain and the value creation chain, so as a whole system.
What is missing in particularly this community of a PSS, the industrial PSS community, is the missing on the attention on B2C, product services systems. And it is my understanding that in order to have a good product services systems, and compared to product side, which I think we know better, but there should be a lot of emphasis on to understand what service is in a more kind of a basic level.
So for most of manufacturing company, PSS is a competitive issue. That's why it's important for them to have proper tools, methods that support the manufacturing company to engineer the product service system along all its life cycle, with providing to their people the proper methodologies and methods that can really help these guys facing for the first time with these new concepts.
Especially, I'm now research on simulation of PSS business model, especially in the early stage of design. Because PSS have make a lot of difficult decision, and PS designer have to evaluate various aspects. For example, customer satisfaction, or economy aspect, or environmental aspect, and this decision have to done in the early stage of design. So to do so, I now developed a simulation to evaluate PSS design solution or PSS business model.
Deals with one of my expertise that is about the PLM software tool, PLM design processes. There I see that there is a lot to do. I mean, in the market, in the real practice of companies, we have already a PLM system in place used by companies for managing and for supporting the management of their design processes. Today, this PLM solution, this PLM adoption, has still a lack of the role of service. There is no, in my opinion, there is no connection with the service context and the service community.
This shift is a big challenge because they may need to change the tools they are using, procedures, guidelines, or also employees' mindsets as well. And the companies need support to make their shift. And there is also a need for creating more insights about PSS, especially considering the essential feature of PSS, which is design. So there are many researches, existing researches, but they haven't considered the feature design sufficiently.
Servitization entails transformation in different dimensions of the business model. First of all, of course, in the value proposition. Then, of course, in the resources and competencies that are needed for the company to go towards more services. Of course, in the organization of the company regarding its internal organization or its external organization.
Well, in fact, mobile phones are a key offer because of today there are more mobile phones than people living on planet Earth. And so we're trying to find new ways to, let's say, have our customers benefit from mobile services, from innovation. But in the meantime, we try to let's say, extend the lifespan of the mobiles so that they use them for a longer time and have a less environmental footprint.
When PSS gives for the companies new opportunities of earning new markets and something like that. And in order to be possible to develop such solutions, we have to integrate the design of services and products and involve people, and at the same time develop new business models.
For technology-based small and medium-sized companies, I think PSS is a very good approach because it both involves the development of business models, but it also goes down to the engineering. So really to conceive these new offerings at the market. And this is quite challenging for SMEs since they are scarce in resources and they really need to prioritize on their development. So there's really no room for mistakes here. So that is why PSS involving the engineering part also takes care of the details.
So when companies move to PSS, sometimes it's very difficult to turn to PSS from their current offerings. So what we try to do is to provide a grid to analyze the current offering and see how this offering can be improved or how can it move to PSS easily. So we have developed a grid based on 4 major categories. First of all, we have the product service concept. Are there products? Are there services? What kind of services are there? Are they close to PSS or not? Then we look at the delivery system. The delivery system for us, we're covering different aspects. To deliver our product service system, the organization of the company must be set up and ready to move to services, for example. Then we must also look at the client interface. How do they react today with the clients? How close are they to the clients? What are the relationships? And the closer they are, we suppose it is easier to move to PSS. And so we also look at the strategy that they set up in their offer. Is the product supposed to be a good, strong product that can last during the time? Is it easy to modulate the different offerings, the different products, the different services, to build a good, strong PSS model? That is what we look at. Then we must check the target market. Do you know who you're selling to? What kind of people they are? Can you find little nests that are easier to attain? Is there a problem with acceptability for PSS and these kind of problems? And the last, 4th major issue for us, which is very important, is the environment. Sustainability is one of the main reasons why we want to move to PSS. So has the company got an interest in the environment? If it has, it is probably easier to move to PSS. Thank you.